My name is Michael Koep, and I am the author of the Newirth Mythology, which is a trilogy, and there's only 2 books out right now. The first book is called The Invasion of Heaven, which came out last year, and coming out this spring is the follow-up to The Invasion of Heaven called Leaves of Fire. In 1998, I was on a concert tour as a rock drummer through the Mediterranean Sea, and I'm this young, aspiring writer scribbling in his journal and playing drums at night, and I'm traveling through these countries, like Italy and Greece, and going through Crete and Spain and Israel and Turkey and Egypt. And I obviously, as a young, aspiring writer, you can't help but be affected and moved and mystified by the ghosts that are actually in the stones of the cathedrals and the temples and the stone fortresses and the ancient sites that are all steeped in ancient mythology. I really fell in love with the idea of maybe creating my own mythology. A mythology, maybe it didn't seem too terribly plausible to be from the northwest of the United States to have a mythology, but I thought I'd give it a try anyway. The story is about a psychologist and a portrait painter. And the portrait painter has a supernatural element to his work that makes it dangerous for audiences to see the art, dangerous to the point of death. And then it becomes a dialogue between the psychologist and the painter to determine what does it mean to be an artist and not have an audience. The story goes from the mountain lakes of North Idaho over to Italy and back, and it's filled with international intrigue. It's got a little bit of mafia. It's got painting, it's got poetic monologues. It even has a sword fight near the end of the book. Book 2, Leaves of Fire, is a continuation of these characters, but in Book 2 I wanted to kind of pursue a different narrative structure, and I went after shorter chapters, mainly because I was dealing with 5 different main characters over 3 different time periods. So the book begins with another character that's introduced in Book 1 named William Greenham, and we get to go back to his beginnings, which are back in the Middle Ages. And we get basically a middle-aged tale of a young boy who has the opportunity to avenge his mother's murder. From there we jump to 1972 to a character named Helen Newirth, which is Locke's wife in Book 1. And we learn a little bit about where she came from, and her story begins as a groupie on the Sunset Strip in 1972, going to see bands like T-Rex and Led Zeppelin. And certainly the mysterious condition that she has called immortality. And the last section of the book deals very much with the continuation of Book 1, where we meet up with Locke Newirth and Helen Newirth and William Greenham and all of those characters that we were introduced in. It picks up from where Book 1 left off and carries on with that story. Early on when I was working on the text, I noticed that many of my obsessions were still sticking to the wall and ended up making it into the narrative. Everything from sword fighting to rock music to poems and poetry and world travel. So mythology sort of bubbled out of that. Check out our Facebook and our website for updates, and thank you so much.